the next 4 minutes. But super excited because our guest today, man, like when I was reading up about him, I'm just like, hey, Charlie, see, you leave things for the rest of us to do also and achieve in life. Like, how are you doing all of these things? It's none other than Mark Kaigwa. He has just walked into studio. So before I even do, the list of all the things he's accomplished, first and foremost, good morning.
Morning, Adele. What's happening?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I was at Lion Place in the studio. So, thanks for having me back.
And what's also really dope is like just an hour ago we were talking about social media actually. So right down your alleyway, and we were talking about punishments actually, and how parents, millennial parents are going to have to change how they punish their kids because of all the videos that we see online. They record when
That's right.
they record and embarrass their kids online. So I was like, and we're also having a guy who knows everything about the digital space. So first things first, you are an African entrepreneur, an author, professional speaker. My God.
Can I talk about the parents thing real quick though?
Yeah.
Because I think that's it's probably one of the I'm a parent now, and it's of a 2-year-old, and you're going to be 3 in September, and there's so many new things you learn about this generation. They can, if you put them in front of like a Great Wall TV, they wouldn't know what to do, but you put them in front of a tablet, and they can navigate their way to an app. Yeah. And so parenting wise, that I think just opens up all sorts of new challenges. Apple yesterday in their developer conference just launched a couple of things that I think are quite encouraging. So they're trying to help us make the time on our phones time well spent.
Okay.
And so for parents, what they're saying is that, look, that device, you can't take it away. That's a very old age.
Don't fight it.
The days of the landline, you can be like, no, you cannot call anyone.
Now, you can lock it down. Yes.
Oh, with the padlock.
Yes.
You can't do that to a phone anymore.
Yeah.
And kids run rings around their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a good friend, there's a good friend of yours who's been in the studio as well. Philip Ogola works a lot with parents.
Yes.
And if you hear how young people know how to,
hide.
They have alternate profiles online, there's like, one Facebook profile that's got like, all the innocent photos and, quoting all sorts of like great quotes.
The Bible.
Then they have everything else. Because you look at high school kids, you look at some of the videos, right?
Yeah.
Or even look at, there's a social network people don't talk enough about. It's called Musical.ly.
Yeah.
I mean, teenagers are all over Musical.ly. Parents kind of think it's safe because it's just you're recording yourself
and then you're singing,
lip syncing,
but
they're setting codes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you can't take that away. So
I know Milan is in that one, man. And she's been doing it for like the last 3 years. And now she's I've never understood it.
But you have
but
to.
She knows I have to now. Now
exactly. So the tough part is, you can't take the phone away. You can't exactly like switch off the Wi-Fi, etc. So generally it starts like a new conversation with parents on like, hey, look, so what Apple have said now is that parents now have the ability to monitor the time, right? So you can basically have an allowance on the phone.
Yes.
And say that, look, you know what, you get an hour a day, or you get only these 3 websites.
Yeah.
And so that's the first time we've seen a company that big actually
just
do something, because phone addiction. And you look at, there's a big study that came out about teenagers now. The amount of time they spend online is insane. This is certainly more urban, quote unquote, more elite, if you like, in this part of the world, like teenagers. But it's a trend for, if you get that phone, you're going to be locked.
But even you and I.
Everybody's on the phone, from the parents to the children. And it's not only the elite, even in shads.
It's true.
Yeah.
With the affordable bundles,
because even
daily bundles.
Let's talk about that. So, like, one of the things I think is underappreciated is how challenging this idea of the smartphone is. So, there's a really cool study done by the Mozilla Foundation that followed guys in rural and peri-urban areas for a year. So, it gave them a smartphone. They said, look, this might help financial inclusion and so on. That was not the case. So, if you just hand somebody a smartphone, it actually can have a net negative effect on them a year later. And that's because, well, so that now, number one, I'm just going to speak matter of fact. So the number one most visited website was SportPesa. The second was Facebook.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you have a fixed pot of income, right? And you have this thing you used to call airtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody broke down what a megabyte is for you.
Yeah.
So here you are, and like you used to manage this airtime.
The airtime, the airtime, because for second billing and everything. But now, for megabytes, for data, no one's telling you.
Exactly. That's the challenge.
That's so interesting. I now see why you love this world. Like, there's so much to learn that you don't even think about.
It's so imaginary, and at the same time, it affects you like physically.
That's right.
So, for the people who are already intrigued by all the data that you've just shared with us, even in terms of parenting relating to our topic today, Mark, what exactly do you do in the digital space? Because it feels like there's so much.
Wewe ni nani? Unafanya nini? Unajua unaweza kuwa mtu wa NYS.
Where's my tattoo? So my name is Mark Kaigwa. I, was born and raised in this city of Nairobi, and I am proud to lead an organization called Nendo.
Yeah.
And Nendo has two meanings, one in Swahili, one in Japanese. It's from the word mwenendo.
Yeah.
Yes, that's in Swahili.
And then in Japanese it means wet clay.
I know.
All right.
That I know.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
How do you know that? That's
I'm just
so
kidding.
random. Yeah.
Not like legit, I know that.
Who knows that?
And so for us, we've made it our life's work to understand Africans online.
Yeah.
Trends.
So exactly, trends. So what are they actually doing online? We say we're solving for their hearts, minds, and megabytes, because they don't lie, right? Like when you look at the data, you just get a really great picture. So we're in social media, we do research, we do training, and we do solutions. And most of our work is really strategic or strategy.
Yeah.
So we're helping people plan, assign budgets, evaluate their agencies. Gosh, we look at influencers too, and just, in some cases provide some, digital forensics, just because there's a lot of money that's going to digital.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of fraud. There's also like some questions. But the thing is, you can make very solid plans because you can account for next every coin.
Yeah, because the data is right there. So there's training even for, like, let's say Team Adele and Team Shafi who are listening. When you say training, is it only like organizations or can like
individuals?
Individuals.
So it's individuals too. I think one of the things that I would love to share more is we started a YouTube channel last year.
Yeah.
And so there, honestly, we're giving our best stuff away. So so if you want to figure out how many Kenyans are on WhatsApp or how to use WhatsApp for business, we have tutorials on that are free there on YouTube. It's called Digital Africa with Mark Kaigwa.
Yeah.
And the team, myself, we, guys put a lot of work in to make this stuff free and available on our blog on nendo.co.ke. We write a free weekly newsletter. Like the one that's going out today is about 1,000 words. It's got maybe 10, 15 links, all that are there to basically educate and train you on either a weekly basis or as regular as we put out our videos. So we actually give, I want to say, like 75% of the best info we have. The stats, the insights, we're like, you take that. Because what happens is, one, we get like what's called a thought leadership position. Yeah. So, everybody's quoting our stats. And then secondly, people call us and they're like, if this is what you give away, what do you charge for?
Yeah.
So what are you not? They pick up the phone and call you, and that's the difference. So
that's really dope. So in the next 5 minutes, what I want to know from Mark is, how do we go from the rest of us and how we love social media in the online world.
What I want to know from
his
Mark,
level.
Yes, from your level. How can we deal with KOT?
But if you have any questions for him, my God, he's got so much knowledge to share. Make sure you send those questions our way on Talking About All Things Digital. Everybody's making a video dancing to it. Yemi Alade played on Kiss FM at 18 to 9 here with Adele Onyango and Shafi, where we have Mark Kaigwa in studio with us. Very interesting starts coming up, and I've just opened up your YouTube channel, which is Digital Africa with Mark Kaigwa. Already really interested. Like the last video that you uploaded, 5 different WhatsApp groups that you're in. I'm like,
that's right.
Okay, that we need to talk about. Need to talk about. But I want to understand, how did you get this fascinated to go this deep with the digital world? Like, was there a moment that you were like, oh my God, guys, this is like gold we're sitting on, right?
Yeah, I think there's an analogy that really helped me explain, I think, where I sit, and it's that there's kind of two people in life. Of course, there's not two people, but it's just it's an analogy that there's what they call mountain people and river people. So a mountain person, looks, stands on the top of like a cliff, looks ahead, sees the mist clearing. It's a mountain. I want to be on the top of that mountain. Looks down, there's forest, there's traps, there's everything. So they go down into the thick of things, and they're always looking up saying, I'm going to that mountain. That's where I'm headed. And so they navigate knowing they've got this thing that's far off in the distance that they're working towards. How many nights or days? Those are people who plan long term. Who have like, this is exactly what I want to be, this is where I'm at, and I'm doing everything to get there. Then there's what they call river people. River people are more of, hey, you know what? There's a river here. I'm going to fashion myself a canoe from an old tree. I'll get inside and I'll paddle like crazy. If it's the rapids, I'll paddle slowly. When it's like nice, I'll take in the sights. So I'm more of a river person in that I can't say I had like a blueprint where I was like determined and saying like, I want this, I want that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And so I think what that just helps me know is that, look, there's two kinds of people. There's people who like have everything planned out, say, I want to be a digital this with that. I've been more of just taking it a bit at a time, navigating what's in front of me. And so with digital, I'm grateful to my parents, my dad, who got my brother and I aware of computers at an earlier age.
Oh wow!
Just encouraged us to explore that, to learn how to type. And then my mom is an interior designer, so she encouraged us to just express ourselves when we were young. And so those two things kind of formed the basis that by the time a design IT came, there was kind of like some building blocks that just helped me be a bit aware of it. And so then it's just been, I always say, like, if I have no special talent, which I don't believe I really do, I'm insatiably curious. Right? Every person at Nendo in our organization, we continue, we're hiring right now, and people kind of look and they're like, where are the qualifications? Like this kind of thing. We're like, we don't need that. We're going to tell you a story about how the work works. And how the kind of person who joins our team needs to work. And the bottom line is, if you can teach yourself something, this is the digital generation, right? On social media, a lot of times just kind of passively scrolling through, but if you're there to learn and to teach yourself and apply, you go really far. And certainly, like, organizations like ours and many others are looking for guys who are like, oh, that's the challenge. All right, give me an evening. I'm online. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it out.
So and another thing that I think is also interesting to talk about, because many members of Team Adele and Team Shafi are in this space right now, where their side hustle is influencing, be it on Twitter, a lot on Twitter actually. You're in Campo, a brand is pushing this promotion, you get a gig and you do it. But how can they see that grow into long term? Because I think with the way things are going digitally, it shouldn't just be a side hustle. It could actually like grow into something that's your main hustle, right? So I don't know. Are there any pointers that you can give?
You bet. You bet. I mean, I'm passionate about influencers. I've taken on influence gigs myself. Though it's very rare, it's causes that I'm passionate about. But I recognize that it's the future of a way to earn and add extra income in an economy where the steady job, the
jobs are scarce.
The jobs are scarce, right? So I think to talk to Team Adele, Team Shafi, first is to give them their credit and their due. They are very much a part of your identities. You guys look out for them, they look out for you. They're probably people who actually evangelize and talk about, hey, tune in this time. I'm following. I'm here, and they've made it a ritual where they bring other people in. That's huge because that's offline impact. Now, when it comes online, I've had the chance to talk to a range of influencers, work with them, support clients, audit influencers. So I've seen both sides of the table, and it comes down to three things. And the first time I presented these three things was to the winners of the social media awards a couple years ago. So I just, I asked, let's have a session with them. Let me present these ideas, because I'm a believer in them being able to get their full value. So it's three things. It's audience, value, and leverage. So audience just means you have
numbers.
No, not even the numbers. You have to know your audience. You don't have
to understand them. Okay,
because for a lot of guys, they're like, here's the big number. But it's a click farm in Southeast Asia that gave me these numbers. So if you don't interrogate that, if I can't tell you that, look, if you're talking about 18 to 24-year-old guys from first year to fourth year, I'm your guy. I have them in WhatsApp groups because I organize the parties. Right? I have them on Twitter because I'm also the guy who just my trend, my campus show, right? And I have them in these and these ways. I know that they want this, that they don't want that they like this, that they reject that. You are gold because you can tell me things about that audience, and it's now not about you pushing a couple tweets. So don't even charge me per tweet. Now I'm in a space where you have me where you want me. Second one is value. A lot of guys tend to want value for themselves, so they're looking at a shilling and cent number in the beginning. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not asking you to do free work. I'm asking you to figure out what value means to the other person. So some brands want, unfortunately, because I think it's a vanity metric, and there's nothing wrong with it, I just think it's a vanity metric, to trend. Right? So a lot has moved towards trending. If you can be like, hey, look, trending isn't the only thing. I'm a diversified influencer. On campus, you tell me when you're doing something experiential, I can mobilize my guys. I can mobilize guys. Bingo, like you can now get more, right? Now you're talking to your Mo Sounds, you're talking to the experiential agency, you're doing stuff there, you're at the activation, you're doing stuff there, you got the t-shirt, and you now have more, and you can again charge more. Because the last thing for me is leverage. I think when there's 10 of you and you all have an equal amount of Twitter followers, how am I going to pick between you? I want to pick the guy who knows his audience. Isn't all in on just one social network. He's diversified. Says, you know what? I haven't even told you about my Facebook group. Facebook group? You tell me you can influence guys. Yes. Because let me tell you how I got them started. I started this conversation about X, Y, and Z. And so I have about, 1,000 people there. Now, 1,000 is not going to ring any cash registers. But because you're working that hard, you have leverage in the negotiation. This guy's, 10,000. That
he doesn't even know.
But now what I know is you know your audience, right? You can tell me what they like or don't like. And you know them online and offline. And exactly, and then the second one is what is it? So value, audience. So at least value wise, you thought about me. So now you're like, you know what do you want? Like there's something called, and I encourage everyone to look at it, the path to purchase, or the purchasing funnel. Basically, nobody buys the first time. First, you're aware. I mean, the old way of thinking about it is awareness.
It's the basics.
Exactly. So sometimes you're like, I'm the guy who I'll get you 10 guys to buy this thing. but it's going to take me a lot of work. Whereas most guys are like, look, I'll tweet the thing and I'm on to the next one.
Yeah.
So it's very much a balance, right? So, and I think brands are fine. If the people who ask them about value are like, wait, those 10 guys took the brief. No one asked anything.
Yeah.
This one guy wrote us an email, got on a call with us, tried to meet us because he's like, let me understand. I won't even quote to you before I understand. Some guys have a fixed budget, but you can change that if you figure out your audience. If you go in talking about, I think, the value you can provide to them,
providing more.
And then you get leverage off of that. That way you can look and say, you know what, you guys are concentrating too much on Twitter. Because, for example, there's, Facebook has almost 8.5 million Kenyans there, but doesn't get the same reach. Well, it's a bit more fragmented. But like for me, one of the things I'm saying, if you're now Adele and Shafi, I'm like, you guys have to start actually buying ads to promote your content on Facebook, in addition to everything you're doing on Twitter. Yeah. Because unfortunately, even if you have 10,000, even this station has to buy, because Facebook's made it clear, and it's one of our trends for 2018 and has been around. Everybody has to pay. Yeah. Everybody. Now, Facebook is the most affordable place. I tell people spend 100 shillings a day. Yeah. On Facebook, and you'll get something. Yes. But don't ignore it, because if you know your audience, you bring value, you have leverage, you're going to do better, and you're going to distinguish yourself, even in and you start reaching the actual people that you need. That's right. Oh my God, so much to learn. And there's another place that you can learn. We'll tell you where that is in the next 3 minutes. We actually were there 2 years ago, so don't go anywhere. If you have any questions, I promise we're going to get to that, because that was a lot. Send them our way. 9 here with the Delon Yango and Shafi Weru. And of course, before we jump into the news, and of course we'll give you a chance to win money courtesy of Songa by Safaricom, we have Mark Kaigwa in studio, and it's super interesting to have him in studio, just really opening our eyes up to really understand the digital world. Danesh Kamundia, you're saying, please ask Mark whether many followers on social media really means you're more influential. If not, how do you know you are influential? I love That's actually a good question. It is. Yeah. It's a good question, and it's a common question in that for a lot of guys, that's what they're thinking about. Yeah. So you don't need 1 million followers. That I can tell you first up, because you don't even need a blue check mark on your Twitter account. So what you need, to kind of go back to it, is you need to know what you're capable of doing. So if you think about it, parents are influencers, but we don't think of them that way. Yeah. Because as a certain point, as an adult, their influence even decreases, right? Yeah. So you have this audience of people, and you can talk to them. Yeah. But what can you make them do? Right? Yes. And so I think influence is moving towards, how can we use this not just for awareness, right, but also to move the needle. So if you want to charge more, you got to be like, look, first of all, I want an affiliate commission, right? Because I want to push this product, and I want the upside when people buy. Yeah. Because I become like an agent. Because I made them buy. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm like, I've worked hard to cultivate trust. The biggest thing I think that has threatened influence has been something we've been talking about since 2014. As Nendo, we published a trend report then, and what we said was that if influencers continue to withhold what's called disclosure from their audiences, they will lose the only thing that makes them influential, which is trust. So what that means is that, brand X has paid Mark. Mark comes here and talks and waxes lyrical about that brand. Yeah. If I do not put in some kind of caveat for my audience to know that this is an ad, this is an endorsement, I was paid, there's a material connection, and it doesn't have to be money. It's a gift, it's a trip, it's what. If you don't disclose that, guys lose trust in you. We had a conversation about that, remember? There was an issue about something was put up. It was the Kardashians. And they put up something, and then they were sued because they didn't come out clean and say that this was actually a paid thing. So going forward, that's why even now on Instagram, on Facebook, anything that's put up, it comes with it's a hashtag ad, or even it's a paid sponsorship, paid partnership. Exactly. Yes. Even so that whoever is feeding off it, or whoever you're trying to target, your audience understands what exactly you're doing. You can't just post a picture of a phone and it's like it's normal. It should not be normal. That's what you're trying to say, right? Yeah, because what happens after time is people can't figure out when were you being paid, when you're being paid. So you have a personal position about, let's say, something in the public sector, or the government, or genuinely about a brand, or you're enjoying yourself genuinely like enjoying yourself. You're just going about your life, and you see kind of like the eye roll emoji, like, yeah, great, we get it. Yeah, they give you a big check, like, fantastic, because guys don't know. Yeah. Yes, I remember the story. The story on Kardashian was some weight loss thing that they put up. And then the guys called them out, and they were like, yo, no, this one, by the way, I got paid for it. It was not our product. Yes. I think that's important, because even, for example, I stand for Ciara, and I actually, when I see her,